And I just started the record button.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Bob Anderson, and I've worked with Risa for a while in her courses. And my position at St. Mary's is one of adjunct instructor and director of instructional technology. So I'm an instructor like Risa, but also hold an administrative position as well. And my job is to help provide educational technologies for both our students and instructors, those technologies that help with learning. So Blackboard and perhaps some video or Integrity or some other technologies perhaps you've come across. But in your course this term, uh, Risa has asked you, I believe, to work on, or an optional assignment is to create a Google website, and or to create a website of which Google is one way to approach that. Um, I'd like to show you a few basic things, and then if the opportunity arises, perhaps practice a little bit with you. But I see that you have muted your microphones, but please, if you have any questions, please unmute and speak up. This is the time to get those questions answered. I'll try and monitor the chat window if you want to ask a question that way, but sometimes when you get going, that's a little hard to spot. So as you can see, I've got my email open on the page, my St. Mary's email. And the best way, I think the most convenient way to get to the Google Sites product is to log on to email, scroll or look across the top where you see that search bar, and then you'll see this little 3x3 checkerboard square in the courses, in the mail. If you click on that, you'll see a sub-window appear, and these are the Google products that you have available to use, and one of them is called Sites. Click on that. And you'll immediately be open to a new tab, and this is the screen in which you initiate and start to create your website. It's really quite simple to get started. You basically have to select a template and a theme and give your site a name. So I'm going to go over and click on Create. Which opens a template for me. I'm sorry, I'm using the word twice there. It opens a screen for me with choices. And I generally go to the center of the screen first and give my site a name. And for lack of anything creative at this point of the day, I'm just going to call it Practice 4. Then I can go up and use a blank template for the site. A template is, if, for lack of better terms, the look and feel of your website. When you select a template, you are selecting the layout, whether it has 2 columns or 3 columns, whether it is more vertically or horizontally organized as far as navigation goes, tools, gadgets, and the like. A theme, which is the other thing you select, is really more of just of a color and background image. So I'm going to first go up to the templates. I'm going to browse in the gallery for the different types of templates. And here you can see are some categories. I'm going to jump into the center one, schools and education. And I guess I'm just going to go with a education website. So again, when I select this, it will load into Blackboard. I'll get a quick browse of what the first page may look like, and I'm just going to say select. So I've selected the education website template. Again, that's my layout, navigation, some tools, and otherwise. I've got the name, and the last thing I do is select a theme. And themes, think of colors. I'm just going to scroll down the page, and I generally don't like lots of colors when I get started. You can change these later, both the template and the theme, and you can customize them as well. So I'm going to find one that doesn't have a lot, not really busy. I'm just going to be boring and pick something called a blank slate. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds simple. I then scroll back on the page and click on the word create again. And at this point in time, uh, it's going to check and see if that name is available, and it's going to start building the site. You can see up in the center it says creating your site, and if you keep your eye on that spot, if the name you selected has been chosen, it'll come up and ask you to choose again. If that site was available, your site will be created. And it looks like Practice 4 was available for us. So Practice 4 is the name, if you will, that becomes part of this long URL that I'm just highlighting on the top of the page. That is the URL you might share with someone else if you wanted to let them visit this page. There's other ways to share that as well. So in this template that I selected, I can see it provided it with a horizontal navigation, and it gave me 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. And as I scroll down the page, you'll see some other information there. Next, what I'd like to call your attention to is we want to start creating the site, and really it's pretty straightforward and simple. Look at this pencil icon, the plus icon, and the gear. We are going to make use of these three in order to modify the page to our desires. So I'm going to click on the pencil icon, which is really the icon for editing that page. As you see now, the page has sort of been a little reloaded for me. And you'll notice that most of the website now becomes editable. This is known as a WYSIWYG editor. That stands, you may have seen this word, but I'll type it in here so you can see it. Perhaps some of you have seen that. Basically, that stands for what you see is what you get. So basically, anything that I type and see on this page is how it will be rendered as a website. So I'm going to go in this, see where this generic text is created, and try and delete some of that. So you could just simply add text, and when you have what you like, simply click on Save. And then it'll go back to how it will look when someone else visits it, if you will. I'm going to click on the pencil icon again and call your attention just to some other things that are available on this page. Excuse me. So if I look at the toolbar across the top of the page, you see some pretty standard word processing like commands. So if I wanted to highlight the words "Welcome to my website" and place that in bold, maybe increase the font size, those are the types of things I can do along that toolbar. If I wanted to add a web link, for example, or hyperlink might be a better name for you. I would click on the word hyperlink, and the universal symbol, if you will, for adding a link is this gear. I'm sorry, there's a chain. So sorry. If you click on that, you can create a link. It defaults to creating a link to another page within your site. I wanted to have a link to a web address. I'm just going to put in a standard website. I'm going to click on the bottom. It says open in a new window. Click on OK. And I've just inserted a hyperlink in my course. So I'm going to save that. Sorry, not in my course, in my website. So I clicked on save, and now you can see right in my website, I'll click on the word hyperlink. It should take me to CNN and a new page, and there it is. Click on the edit button again, and again you can just see the various types of capabilities on this simple editing bar that you have. If you look above that, again you'll see some word processing like commands for other types of capabilities you can use with the editor. You could insert an image, a hyperlink, as we just did, a horizontal line. Just look at all of these options. I can't go through all of them with you tonight, but at this point I really encourage you to give it a try. So I'm just going to place my cursor down here. I'm going to put a few spaces in, and I'm going to go back and insert a horizontal line. As you can see, that's just a simple gadget that puts a horizontal line the entire width of your web page. I'm going to go back and insert now, and I'm going to insert a YouTube video. It wants me to have a video, so I'm not prepared for that, but let's go find one. I'm going into YouTube without having practiced this beforehand, so who knows what I'm going to end up with. But, I'm going to grab one.
Esurance was born.
I'll go up and grab the URL for that, copy that, go back to my Google Sites page, paste that in, save it, and underneath that video I think I'm going to down and insert another horizontal line. Save it. And there it is. I'm going to take a quick pause right now. I recognize you're all muted telephone connections, voice connections, and ask you, does that look straightforward? Does it make sense? Does it look like something you feel comfortable with trying? Thanks, Laura. I think sometimes, and I don't know how you came in, thank you, Mark. I think sometimes when you hear the words create a website and you haven't used a product like this before, that can seem a little daunting. But the tools today from both WordPress, which is another good option, or Google Sites, have really improved to the point creating a website is not a daunting task as might have been just even a year or two ago. I'm going to go back to the site again now. Excuse me, I just have to hide my control panel. That control panel is the panel that I see your text comments, so I won't see those for a few minutes. So that was the edit button we've been chatting with. I'm going to go back and do that one more time. And basically what it does, when you click on that, it will allow you to edit the page you are on. So I've been looking at the home page the entire time. I'm just going to go over and click on Lessons and Notes. That's, if you will, the third page in this site. And this is comprised of, looks like, some simple text and an assignment and some other gadgets. I'm not recognizing what this graph is, what kind of tool that is, but we'll try to see if we can see that we can edit that. All of these objects appeared on the page because of the template we selected. So I'm now on the page called Lessons and Notes. I'm going to click on that pencil. The editor comes up, and there I can make changes to this page. If I want to change the name of that page, that's certainly something I can do. And you can make formatting changes on this page. You can add tables. You can change the layout of the page. This is an interesting selection. As you start to really get a plan for what you want to communicate on your page and break up the information, you can really change the look and the feel by changing the layout. And this can be done at any
Ah, oh, sitting at the table.
Okay, I'm getting a little feedback now. Can I ask you to mute your microphone in order to keep background noise to a meaningful level? Thank you. Okay, the second, I'm going to skip over this icon here and jump to the third one. And this is where we have a number of additional tools. And I'm just going to walk through a few here with you. The three I guess I'd like to cover with you, and just look at the many options you have here, changing your templates, copying, moving pages. But I'm going to go down to manage the site. There's a number of controls here that are interesting for you. You can change the name of your website. This does not change the URL that you are given so people can access it, but this changes the title on the splash page. Try that again. You can add categories for it. You can change which is the landing page. Right now it defaults to the page called Home. Here's where you can delete the site if you just decided, oh boy, I'm too far gone with this one. I want to start over. And there's site-wide kinds of capabilities you can provide here. One that I'd like to go into in particular on this site is, again, on the Manage site. On the left side of the page, you'll see a menu. I'm going to go down to Themes, Colors, and Fonts. Oh, I see I've made a change. Let me save that change. Okay, it saved it. Now I'm going to go down to Themes, Colors, and Fonts. And here is where you get very, very granular control of each one of the pages of your website. So this is, again, it's the home page. I renamed it to Digital Technology just a moment ago. But if you carefully go through these options here, you can really create the look, the visual look that you wish to create. And by visual look, I mean the colors and the use of background images. So on the top one, it's entire page, the background. I'm just going to click on the far right, which will allow me to change color. It's St. Patrick's Day, so let's see what this does. And you can see the entire background has been changed on that site, or rather for the page. If I just wanted to do some changes on the site header, I can start to do those things as well. Hope that makes sense. I'm going to save those and go back to my website, which in this case, I'm kind of deep into navigation of managing the site. I'm going to click on Digital Technology, which will take me all the way back out. I'm going to go into the Manage More Actions, or the gear icon again. Edit the site layout. This one allows you to kind of change the sizing and the arrangement of the website. So, for example, you didn't like to have horizontal navigation. You would click on this bar. Hopefully you can see this. I'm not moving too fast. And you should see in a second my horizontal navigation disappeared. I'd rather have my navigation on the sidebar. I'll click on that. And now you can see a sidebar has been entered, and there's my navigation. I can change my width. I can change if I want that header field or not, and so forth. This allows you a lot of control. So that's for just a few things on the more options. The other item I'd like to show you is just this center one, and that's really adding a page. So if I click on that, it's going to ask me for name. It can ask me for what template I'd like for that page. And I'm just going to go with the file cabinet page. And that's just simply a page where you could put documents on. And then it's asking me where I want that on the menu. I'm going to put that under home. No, I'm going to put that as a top level, its own page. And then I'm going to create that page. And there you see it was added here. I'm noticing that the default arrangement on this page or on the menu, it looks, well, I was going to say it's alphabetical. It's not doing that either. I'm not sure why I put it in the middle instead of making the fifth page. I'd have to look into that. Well, the way I would do that is I would go over into the edit the site layout and see what's going on over here. You know what? I'm going to leave that alone for just a second. So I've got two menus. Sorry, I want to get rid of one. Get rid of the sidebar. Just got the horizontal. And now I am. What I've noticed here now is this item called last page is no longer in my menu. I'm sorry, in my navigation menu. So I've got to find out why that is. And I think that's under edit the site layout. At this point, while I'm floundering here, if you wanted to ask a question, that would be really good, but it'll just take me a moment. I've been on so many of these templates and themes that I know that in each particular one, it tends to be in different places. So bear with for just a moment. Any questions? Okay, what I've navigated to is using Manage Site. I've gone to the sidebar and clicked on Pages, and here I can see how my pages are arranged. And if I'd like to, I can simply drag them. This is kind of an acquired skill. It's a little tricky to do this. As you can see, it's saying moving. I'm going to give it a minute, see if that did it. Well, almost did. Okay. Well, as you can see, you can change the navigation. It's just a little tricky. This one where where right now, as you can see, it's made it a subpage under page. So the changing of the navigation in Google Sites is a little trickier than WordPress, which just allows you to rearrange it. You kind of get the idea of how to change that. I hope. It's still not displaying. All right. Well, instead of floundering on that, I'm getting a little distracted. Uh, may I answer any questions at this juncture? Risa, maybe you could give me a little more of the idea of the background for the website, and we could talk about maybe particular templates or things that you are looking for, or is this rather wide open as far as creativity?
Sure. Basically, what I expect is that the web page will be a vehicle for people to gather information and share. And so a lot of the class is searching for technologies that might be useful for teachers to use with their students, specifically special needs students. So I leave it open because different people have different needs. And so I'm encouraging people to specialize or customize in the way that would meet their needs the best. So I expect sharing resources, maybe talking a little bit about why a certain resource you like it or you might think it's useful, linking to a web page or YouTube video to describe the resource, that kind of thing. So otherwise, I'm pretty flexible. And, Google Site is a great way to do it, but other people in other classes have used different things. I've had people use um, Pinterest boards. I've
Sure.
had people use wikis. Sometimes people they'll have a district, they're already in a school, they already have their classroom web page, they'll add to that.
Okay.
Trying to think what other examples. I've even had people make interactive PowerPoints and shared them
Got it.
through Google.
So really the objective is it sounds like to me, is to create a resource of professional resources of tools and techniques that you can use and to do it creatively in the forum of your choice.
Exactly.
Okay. Or it sounds like the web form of your choice. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
Something that we can share.
Got it. Okay. And well, on that comment, if you do choose to use a Google site, you have great control over who may see your website. And I believe, yeah, the default for us at St. Mary's, since I created this Google site from my St. Mary's email, it it is accessible by all people at St. Mary's by default. But under the managed site, under sharing and permissions, um, you can provide very granular control over who you wish to see your site, even down to the point of identifying specific people. And you can change that on a page-by-page basis. So if there were some pages you wish to be wide open and shared with a very large community, there might be other pages you wish to share with only others that in a smaller practice group. So it sounds like perhaps you might create a simple, if you choose to use Google Sites, a simple layout, and then using the editing tool, I'm thinking inserting a lot of, whoops, um, you might put your things into subpages, or perhaps you might add a table. But you can also do things like linking to Google Drive and Hangouts. There are so many features here. There's just simply not enough time. This call today is intended to give you kind of a light overview and to empower you to feel like you just want to jump in and give it a shot. I encourage you to do that. Go in, mess it up, get stuck. The help features, as you might imagine, being Google, are very good, and they are Googleable as well. If you want to reach out to me via email, Risa, if you wouldn't mind providing that for the students, you can see it up here in the upper right-hand corner of the page. But myself or my associate Jerry would be happy to help you if you get deep into your website and perhaps you want another pair of eyes on it, or you get stuck on any particular item. If we don't have the answer, we have access to a number of people who have done some pretty nice Google sites in the university. So we're happy to help. But I really encourage you to create a site and make it yours, make it unique, explore the different templates, explore the different themes, and consider it your own creation. Don't worry too much about uh, what others have done before you. Make it your own and kind of think of your audience and how you can create an experience that is easy to access information.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So just before, if we're breaking up, I'd like to ask if anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to text them in, or I would be happy to hang on for a few more minutes if any of you would like to be past the controls. And by that I mean I can or Risa can make any one of you an editor on this site right now, and you could go up and practice while we are watching, which could be a little scary, but also while you would be able to get some support and some hints. Do I have a volunteer, or is that a little too much for an orientation? Anybody?
Now, a couple of people I've noticed have already posted at least the beginning of their site on Blackboard, which was very cool. And I'm wondering if I know Leslie has, I'm trying to think if Heather has too, but if either of you have questions or anyone else that has already started a site, if you guys have any questions.
Yeah, and we could go over to Blackboard if you'd like, or if any of you have started a site, um, what did you find was the most challenging part? I think a product like Google Sites kind of drops you into the visual layout very quickly. Um, and perhaps maybe you wanted to assess what resources you wanted to place on that before you jumped into a template or a theme. Um, but does anything strike you as the thought process behind creating a resource for other individuals? Okay. I'm not hearing any questions, Teresa. I don't.
That's just fine.
Oh, good advice, Leslie. Thank you. For those of you who may not be seeing the chat session, Leslie said, make sure you change the sharing settings so others cannot edit your website. Yes, be careful about that. With the wrong settings, if you will, someone else can come in and modify your website. I don't believe it defaults to that, but that would be a very good thing to check. So when you check your template and log on for the first time, we get back there. Look at the gear and go down and click on sharings and permissions and see what your site has. So look at this. Leslie, you caught it. Anyone at St. Mary's University can find and edit. We don't like that.
That's interesting. Is that the default setting?
I'm really surprised. As I look at the setting, it says anyone at St. Mary's University can find and access, which is what I thought it would be.
Yeah. Yeah, Leslie caught that on somebody else's website. That was a really good catch.
Yes, but then further below, the access here has can edit, so I'm going to change that to can view and save it. So now it's anyone at St. Mary's University can find it and view it. Nice catch, Leslie. Thank you.
Well, does anybody
Okay.
else have any final questions?
Right. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I don't want to hold you any longer than we need to be, but I would encourage you to give this a shot if you haven't tried this. I think these types of skills are in our future. We all need to be a little web savvy and improve our digital literacy. Uh, I encourage you to give it a try, and we will do our best to support you as you experiment.
All right. Thanks a lot, Bob.
Oh, my pleasure. Good night, everyone.
All right. Good night, everybody.